And back to Zoom, so when you're done, all you have to do is click off on.
Okay.
And on Zoom, I didn't need to screen share in order for it to get on YouTube, correct?
Well, no, it's already done. You're on.
No, I mean, if I screen share on Zoom here. the live stream.
Oh, look who's
It should have been.
Victoria.
Not sure.
That's the end. It's missed. Victoria Hopkins.
Uh,
Yeah.
You
Sorry.
and
Is that hers?
I assume that's her.
She is muted. Where's that coming from? It's not us, we're all here. This is the volume right here.
She's here. Microphone on that, unit up on the wall there.
Closer.
Well, that sound bar-
This.
Oh,
Oh, it should be closed, yes. That's one of the sounds, one of the sounds that I think they just go out. Wow. Well, this is top. I turned the volume down. So it's 16.
I think it's picking up the microphone on here and on that unit. I think there's two microphones. I think that's been bouncing back and forth.
Oh, so you just.
Still, I think I just turned the microphone
Oh,
on here.
you didn't.
Is that going anymore?
That's all. That's.
That's all right. All right.
That's the thing.
Go, you're shopping.
No, well,
What hers are those?
then I'm gonna. Because. Okay, everyone.
Understood. I just have to watch-
Right.
If you guys have a minute.
No, sorry.
If you move over here, well, is it just over here?
I think it's something with Zoom going to YouTube and then coming back.
Done that before.
Has it not?
Yeah, do you want me to just move that laptop?
Well, I'm gonna need this for some of my aids here, but, well, I think if you wanna cycle through. What would be the reason to
Is it touch screen or is it?
just use that right, arrow key.
That's all. Did you mute this one? Okay, now try it. Can you still hear us or no?
I think we've muted ourselves is the issue there.
Okay, you get these, the minutes, have you read?
Yes, yeah.
All right, so I have a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion.
Approve. Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Is Victoria gonna participate in this or?
Great, now I'm starting to text her, let me text her.
Look, it says rain coming. And then look on the left corner.
You.
May I ask who seconded the motion, please? For the minutes.
This is 22.
Any nays on that?
No, they were all. Okay. All right.
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Oh, we hear you now. Yes,
Yeah, apologize for my voice.
don't
and if
feel
I
like you
start
have to
coughing,
talk.
I'll have to get off. So,
It's so nice that you came on.
well, I wanted to be there tonight, but I don't think it was a very good idea. So anyways, what were we just, what it was just approved?
Yeah.
Yeah, what did you guys approve?
Delayed on it when they're talking.
Street.
I'm sorry.
It was the minutes, Victoria. We're
Oh,
having issues
okay.
with delay. I don't know if you're getting that.
Okay, okay.
Just
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of difficult to hear you guys.
we are having technological issues and it's delayed. They keep trying to fix it.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, well,
Right.
I'll be quiet then.
No, we want you to talk if you have feedback, so we'll just try to not talk as much. Okay, so
So those watching and engaging, I think we are now good to go. I think I've got the echo issue taken down. So we're just going to.
click through, you said.
Great.
All right.
Actually, let's make sure just to be 100% certain. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I don't think this will cause our issues again. But let's make sure that that is on. Okay, perfect. Thank you very much for forwarding that. So,
Right, so first up is COA 3-2025 on 325 Main Street. That is a retroactive COA. We tabled that at the August meeting. So just to recap, so this was the one on Main Street where they had already done work on it and it came before our board for a COA. I did talk to Gina after our meeting because we had discussed possibly going and talking to the board about, you know, how this occurred in terms of was it approved. But I talked to Mitchell and we were both busy that day. So I came in and talked to Gina and Gina said that they actually didn't have a permit when they did the work. And so that's how it happened. So it never went to the town board for a permit. And if I'm getting the verbiage wrong, town board council, I screw that up sometimes, but they had never gone to the board to ask for those permits. And so what ended up happening based on what Gina said was that the owner then found out that the work had been done without permits. She had assumed that her general contractor had got the appropriate permits, then went to the town asking for the permits, and then they told her that she had to have a COA prior to getting those permits. So then it was tabled with the town until it came back to us essentially. So the work was done without permits as well as without a COA. And the homeowner was trying to remedy that situation was my understanding. So currently it's just, the work is done, it's paused. It sounds as though, I don't know, and Rick may know this verbiage better than me, but a certificate of occupancy, or I don't know if that has impacted being able to rent that facility because right now they don't have the appropriate permits in place until we vote and then the town will bring that back up for a vote. Rick, did I speak to any of that
I
incorrectly?
think you're right.
Okay, all right, so we have to then look at it. Did you have it in here? 25, yes. So to go over it, do you want me to just read this over? Or you want
that'd
to?
be fine. This is all borrowed from Stevie's review back
Okay.
in August, so this has not been changed.
So just in reference, the building was rated contributing federal style. It's a commercial building within Brookville's historic district, circa 1850. It's good condition, slightly altered integrity. We did no outbuildings listed in shard. Being mindful that this was the building in back. The front building was painted, the windows were done previously. I know that when the Evans owned it, we approved that front window being replaced, if I recall. So we're really just looking at the back building was the thing. The proposed work again was that retroactive COA. They did electrical, plumbing, and exterior siding, and the siding was Imperial Ribbon Hawaiian blue. So if you recall, this is what the original building looked like. I recall we were discussing it previously. A few things that we noticed was that the original door was gone. And I believe it's a casement window that was at the top of the building. It's no longer there. It was replaced. And then this is the updated version that was brought to us for retroactive approval. So I'm going to go back just a little bit so you can kind of get an idea of that. So this is what it looked like prior. And then you can kind of see, we determined that there was like a little street between that and the front building, right? So it's kind of on the back side of that street. And this is the current state. Okay, so the recommendation for from Landmarks was per Stevie was per the guidelines, new electrical and plumbing should be located away from any main entrances and not prominently visible from the street. Staff recommends approval of new electrical and plumbing. keep in mind, guys, we're not improving the inside. It's the outside aspect of it. So I think sometimes that gets a little bit confusing when it comes to electrical and plumbing. Placing siding over historic materials is typically not recommended and not generally approved by the commission. Staff does not recommend the use of siding over brick within the district. Consideration may be given that this is an outbuilding in the rear of the property, not facing Main Street. However, this is also a retroactive COA for work already completed. So, do you want me to flip between the pictures again?
We got one on those.
Okay. So that was it. Was that cement block and then it went to siding as well.
The issue herein that we discussed back in August is twofold. Number one, setting perhaps a dangerous precedent for reciting any structures, be it on the rear of a property or otherwise, without a COA approval. And then, two, how do we move forward from this? Do we request that the work be revised, reverse? Do we, set some sort of precedent with a variance that will allow for it in this particular instance, and how do we do that? So those were the questions in play back in August that are still up in the air.
I have a question.
Mhm.
What, I'm sure this has happened in your experience before,
Meaning retroactive COAs or?
like it's already done and they, okay, what do you, like, what would you, what is what you guys usually recommend in this type of a situation, since the building is done?
Right,
We
right.
need some guidelines here.
It's very difficult to enforce reversibility, and get it back to a situation that's either what it was or revised in a way that would meet the guidelines. That's certainly one outlet, and probably, to be honest, the standard procedure, trying to get this back to a format that fits the guidelines that everybody else has to play by, right? The other is, like I mentioned, it's establishing a variance for that particular work, in a way that pertains to only this particular situation. What you don't want to do again is set a precedent wherein any building in that state could be recited in a way that's not applicable with the guidelines. So, if a variance is issued, as sort of a, option B, then you've got to be very specific as to why it's being issued so that it's harder to repeat down the line. So those are really the two options: is enforcing a reversibility or revision, or moving forward with a variance that's very, very specific.
How would you word to be very specific, how would that be worded?
It's difficult to say. Because you can't just say, well, we throw up our hands, right? It's done, it's there.
Here's my thought. I'm
Yeah,
curious. So really, there's few factors here, right? The windows and the door, I feel like, was the big factor from the prior meeting, beyond just obviously the siding too. But when you've seen it done in past situations, is there sometimes like a hybrid where they say like, okay, we're going to go ahead and issue a variance for this piece, but this needs to be retroactively fixed or resolved?
that would be more along the line of the revisionary steps that I mentioned as sort of that better practice, better preservation practice, is to say, look, what we have here, we've got to find some sort of middle ground. If that siding is allowed, then why? And then beyond that, okay, we want to see this door or windows, changed in some way, and how do we want to see that change? That would be consideration too. In terms of, like I said, finding a kind of a common ground or revisionist. Yeah. So yeah, that would really be up to. Correct.
Any thoughts? Anybody?
I have a thought.
Yes.
I own property in Brookville. I don't live in it myself.
Yeah.
But is there an age limit on what is considered historic preservation? A minimum?
Mhm.
So would this building maybe be too young?
It's a great place.
Okay.
From looking at it, sort of, I don't have the property card in front of me at this moment, but it would have to be newer than 1975 in order for that
So
to
it's
apply.
not that.
Said 18
And
circa is what.
beyond that, that's the realm of nominations, that's the realm of historic consideration. Really, what's in play here is your local guidelines. So the fact that this falls within the district, that they've got to, you know, essentially go through the COA process, they have to get the COA approved. All of that would supersede an age limit to begin with, right? So.
May I
even
make
we-
a comment, please?
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay,
Thank-
yeah, I keep talking, but nobody's hearing me, I guess. I don't know.
It's the
Um,
delay, I think. Go ahead.
Okay, anyways, as we talked in the meeting in August, I personally, my view on this is we do not want to set a precedent that we're going to slap your hand and you should have known better, don't do this again. My feeling, it's a responsibility of the property owner, go back to their contractor, let them deal with why this wasn't done properly. But I do not want to set a precedent that we're going to over every time this happens, there can be a reason why it'll be acceptable. I think we need to play hardball with this one and set our precedent, and that's the way it is.
Thank you, Victoria, for the feedback.
Would
Mhm.
you repeat that? I didn't catch everything she said.
I'll reflect it back and you correct me, okay? Does that help? And you tell
Yes.
me if I'm wrong and how I understood it. You
Yes.
stated that you prefer that we not set a precedent, that we don't create an exception essentially to the rule because of this one homeowner, because your concern is that moving forward, if we do that, we're going to continue to have to do that. So you would prefer that we really follow the stringent guidelines. Is that kind of what you
Exactly.
said? Okay.
You are 100% correct. Yeah, that is my thoughts. Yeah.
Do you have a thought on it, Janet?
Well, so if we make them basically take all that off, then what are they supposed to do with that building? Just leave it cement block?
They would need to then pursue an improvement route, an improvement avenue that meets the standards, meets the design guidelines for downtown. Be that, you know, for buildings such as this, you know, whether they come in and they say, well, we want to do new windows, you know, or we want to try and retroactively get these windows approved. Here's the spec sheet for that. They could come at us with that, and then we could provide feedback on why the windows that were installed were or were not acceptable for the guidelines. And they could also come back and say, well, we want to, you know, we're going to go ahead and paint this instead of you know, citing it. And we could come back and say, well, okay, and this is or is not acceptable by the guidelines. Same thing. If you're painting an already painted building, you're pretty much good to go. I think there may be even an administrative approval that I can issue on that without an HPC vote. So if they came back and they said, well, you know what, we got rid of the metal and we're going to go back to the paint that was there. Here's what was existing. Here's what we're proposing, you know, for the new coat. They could even come forward and possibly get an administrative approval for that. If they wanted to do anything differently, if they come back and they say, well, you know, we want to go something more historically minded, we want to do a board and batten siding attached to that CMU wall, then that would be something we'd have to go into the guidelines and take a look. It would really come back to providing them with the guidelines, providing them with the resources they need to know how this procedurally works, and then their review and revision, and coming back to us and saying, okay, we've read the rule book. This is what we believe we want to do with our property. We believe it meets, you know, these requirements, and essentially come back with, again, a retroactive COA.
But what if they don't want to do that?
What if they don't
What,
want to do
what
that?
if they don't want to do any of that? Then,
That's not a choice. That's the
what if
historic
they, what if
preservation.
they don't want it, what if they
You're
don't want to
saying-
take, what if they don't want to take the siding off of it? What if they don't want to do any of that?
That's a great question. There's an ordinance in place that requires that they do it. So it's like a legal ordinance, and you probably know the code, whatever that is.
I'm trying to think offhand. I don't know personally what the exact ordinance was, but their recourse outside of that would be perhaps going to your local Board of Zoning Appeals and getting it. They would have the right to veto our
Well,
action.
And let's be real, not only that, it's currently tabled with the town board. So really, they can't get true permitting until it goes through us. So it sits there, right? So there has to be a yes or a no, essentially, like.
What we could do is, as a committee, require, we would, we vote against what's been done. We would ask that it be revised or revisited. And if they elect that, hey, you know what, we want to keep it as is, they've paid their due, right? They've put the COA in at that point. If we essentially vote against it, they could then say, well, we want to appeal to the zoning board. And if the zoning board were to supersede us and say, well, we accept it for what it is, then essentially it's out of our hands. And that's the case that can be done if what the options that I mentioned earlier are really kind of a meet them halfway. Get it revised, get it revisited, or find a variance, find some way that we can say we approve this with these caveats. If we outright just cannot approve it as is, then we downvote it and they still have that right to go to BZA and.
I mean, I wonder, like, okay, let's say we just got this and it wasn't already done. Like, what would that conversation look like, right? Like, what would our discussion be around the building if they were bringing it to us pre-work being done? Like, what would
Okay,
we,
if
what would
they
we say?
propose this type of siding, I think we as a commission would say no. This is not approved siding, but like he said, the batten board, we would, that would be an option for you to use. And,
That's what you would say. So you would
that's
say,
what I would say. Or paint the brick because it's already been painted and you can do that and just kind of, I don't know, it looks like over here where it's, needed some, work on the brick. I guess they could fix that and then, paint over top of it. I don't know what the condition of the brick is all the way around, if that's why they decided to go with the siding.
Mhm,
Because it would have been a lot cheaper for them to just paint it, yeah.
right?
So I don't know why they chose this really, and since we weren't involved in any of
Right.
that.
Patty, I mean, not to put you on the spot, but what would you say if this building was brought to you in this state and the work had not been done, if that was what they were wanting to do?
I'd paint it.
You would paint it as
I
well?
would paint it.
What about other aspects of the building? Any other pieces that you would have?
Well, the only difference is the garage door now becoming a window,
Okay.
and that's the issue.
Yeah.
And they're not going to use this as a garage, they're gonna use it as a home, is that what they're using it?
I assume it's a rental of some sort because they usually have a bunch of VRBOs around here, right?
Well, Rachel was.
She's not in that.
She's in between.
She's in that,
the two.
she's in the back of the,
Yeah.
she's in the back of the house.
Oh, I
Yeah,
I
she's in
just,
the middle part where Kim used to be, I believe.
Yeah, and then there's the rental.
Oh,
behind
the
it.
front,
Okay,
the
because-
pest, I believe, and then I don't know what this.
yeah, there's a front building and then one in between and then this one.
Yeah.
I mean, I can honestly say, if this was brought to us before, I would definitely veto this siding,
The siding.
yeah, but I mean. I don't know, I mean, their options would be.
I mean-
To come up with a different type of siding if they wanted to dress it up. But now that it's done, I
Kathy,
don't
you
know.
said, or sorry, yeah, Kathy, you said yours was the door. That was the big difference.
No, I just said that's the only difference besides painting it and having the siding, the difference is the door.
Right.
From the garage door to the window.
How
And I don't
different.
even know if that's garage door,
I
that's
think-
been sealed up.
Uh-huh.
Obviously.
That's not,
That's not a.
I don't think that was
That's
actually-
closed in,
yeah.
so.
Was the older windows like casement windows?
That's.
I'm
Well,
assuming
that's
the
what
window
that,
casement
that's what
is-
that,
Yeah.
That's what it looked like.
You've got a couple of double hungs there, but on the first floor and that 3 bay above the door, I'm
Exactly.
thinking you've got
That's
sort of,
It
The
looked like-
windows are. What did you say, Victoria? Sorry.
it was me.
Oh.
I said it's a great improvement. Fantastic.
Okay, I think we're beating a dead horse, and I think we're trying to solve their problem for them. And that's not our job. They went out. We
couldn't
have
hear you. I'm
guidelines.
sorry.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah,
please
no,
repeat what you said.
Okay, I said, I think we're trying to find a solution for them to get out of a problem that they've created. And we are a commission that is supposed to be following the guidelines that have been set up. And I think our only recourse on this is to say it's not acceptable the way it is. You're not following the the guidelines or, the way this is supposed to have been done. So again, go back to your contractor and see what they can do, and then have some more discussions with them possibly. And maybe we can be a little more flexible with them down the road. But for right now, we just need to tell them it's not acceptable. I mean, that's what we're here for. We're not here to make
Wanna make a
everybody
motion?
happy. We are not here
You
to,
wanna-
no, we can give options. It's not our responsibility to make everybody happy. It's what we have committed to that we want to do on this commission. And, if you're not willing to do that, I don't know, but I'm a firm believer when I'm on a commission to stand by what the policies and guidelines and procedures are. Otherwise, you're getting into that dark area where you're setting up precedents again. Well, you did it for this person. Well, you did it for this person. You did it for this person. It'll be nonstop, or it could be nonstop. I'm never
agree with
saying
you.
we shouldn't try to work with people, but also they need to work with this commission, with the historic preservation.
I just want to add in there, though, it says consideration may be given that this is an outbuilding at the rear of the property, not facing Main Street. So
It's along the
not-
alleyway, which makes it a part of the historical district.
Mm-mm.
No, that's what we said in the last
It
meeting.
is in the historic district, you're right.
Yes.
Victoria, to be clear, just to clarify for the commissioners present, you are establishing a line of logic that we should just simply on 03-2025, that's that retroactive COA application, which I think most everyone has a hard copy in front of them here. You're making a motion or a line of reasoning toward simply denying the COA as it is, correct? And if they wish
Correct.
to explore avenues above that, allowing them to, or are you, I'm just curious what your destination is.
Well, yeah, I think if we deny it and make a motion and it's denied, and then we'll need to go help, that's when we start looking at, well, here's what we can do. But for right now, this isn't acceptable. But, I think you said it perfectly in the very first option you gave. Yeah. So for the first, you gave two options that we have. I was very
Correct.
much aligned with your first option.
Responsibility is the option.
Yeah, but if we deny this, they can go to the BZA
And they can approve it.
and approve it.
There is
Well,
nothing to say that the BZA will approve it.
Yeah, but I mean, that's
But
an
it
option.
puts, it is, and that puts the vote above the HPC board. And we have done,
Which also.
to Victoria's point, we have done respectfully what we are here to do, which is to say this is not within standing of the guidelines.
Right.
And this is not acceptable in the eyes of this commission, and we have denied the COA thusly. They have one of two options at that point. They can either work with us to revise and revisit, or they do have the option of going to the next commission or the next board above us.
Right.
Yes.
Again.
Can I make a motion that we move that direction? That we say no?
In terms of
tonight.
denying the COA, Victoria, that's what I was asking about earlier. Is that what your motion is for?
Yes, my motion is to deny it.
Do you have a second?
Wait a second. Me being confused.
Oh,
I'm just saying, how can you deny if she's not really historical? It isn't historic. She obviously it looks historic. Obviously, it's in an alley. So you need to decide, is it historic or is it not?
it's in it, so let me.
It's in the district. If it's in the alley at a corner and you can see it from that alley, that's considered the district.
Yeah.
Even though the front is, but all your alleys are too as well. In the alley.
And everyone in the historic
It's
district
the
is
same
held to
reason
that
why
same
they're
regulation.
gonna approve or deny your deal in the back of your house. It's the same thing because it's seen by the alley.
It's in
That's what it is.
it's in a local historic district, which was voted on, and we created an ordinance, and within that area, there's a map, so there's like a red line, you can see it online, and it has all of the layout. And so, and you guys can say the streets, because I always get the streets off, but within that area, if it is visible within that area, then it has to follow the local historic guidelines. And basically, those local historic guidelines we adopted from Indiana Landmarks as the original guidelines. We sat down and looked at those. It's an entire booklet of guidelines saying, okay, this is how we preserve the history within our community, right? And so on the exterior side only, if it's visible, then the idea is that then if you're doing work on the exterior of the building, it's within that map or that territory, and you look at those guidelines and say, yes, so an example would be brick. A lot of people think we can just slap paint on brick. That's not true. Because it doesn't breathe appropriately if you slap paint on old brick, which means, and you actually can see this near your home, there's a building there. It's painted at some point, and the brick is actually falling off the face of it. And that's because it can't breathe. The permeability of it is not adequate. to
Okay, guys.
that porousness.
As a rules of order, we have too many sidebars going on, so we do need to bring the conversation back to order here.
Yes.
So that's why this has to follow those particular guidelines. And within there, it says if it's original facing, it gives you very specific guidelines on what can be done to that original facing.
What's far spacing?
So like that is, what is it?
If I can step in here, Deborah,
Yeah, go
what
ahead.
we're dealing with here, we had this conversation at the August meeting, and it does fall within the HPC's jurisdiction, given that it does fall within the bounds of the planning overlay that is the local historic district, as well as the fact that it's viewable from not one but two public right of ways. So the fact that I can see this building from a public right of way means that these facades are subject to the guidelines. I want to point to some of Stevie's review from this August, which is on page 74 and 75 of those guidelines regarding the repair of a wall, and that repairs to a wall should be done with materials and designs that match the original look. Brick and other masonry materials, including terracotta units, should match the size, color, shape, and finish of the original material. So again, that's if you're rebuilding. Mortar should be similar in strength, color, and joint rank, depth, and decorative finishes. And when possible, salvage and reuse of original brick should be done in the repair. Fiberglass reproductions of missing terracotta pieces are acceptable, provided a mock-up sample is presented for approval prior to full-scale use in the project. So those are just subsets of one particular, concern, and that is repair to a wall that are.
You said strike them. Maybe they needed to strengthen that house. Does anybody know what the structure is wrong? Why they had to do that?
There is nothing that metal siding is going to do to provide any rigidity of that structure.
We don't vote on the interior structure.
Exactly. We're
We
getting
don't
off
vote on
course
interior
again.
structure building, no, we're not, we can't, anything with, all we do is the aesthetic on the
Aesthetic.
outside. We can't go in and say, oh, this foundation is falling, or that's not within our parameters. That would be more for, I assume, whoever does code, right?
Yes, so all of that comes from our repairing a wall concerns. That's again, how specific these guidelines get, page 74. 75 regards coverings, and the following is not recommended and generally not approved by the commission. Number one, they're covering a brick wall that historically is exposed with a new covering like modern stucco or wood. That would also apply to modern corrugated steel paneling. Sand or other media abrasive blasting, especially as it concerns pre-Portland or historic fired brick. You remove that fascia, that hard outer crust, you're going to have spalling and other concerns. Painting an unpainted brick wall, again, with a concern of trapping moisture, especially as it relates to a latex coat, and vinyl siding for the same reason. Again, we have no idea in terms of long-term health of that property, that it's not locking moisture against the building. And depending on how that siding was in fact strapped to the building, be it through furring strips or be it direct through, concrete studding, etc. Again, hard to say. It could actually be providing a hazard to the building's long-term health. And that's why those guidelines are in place, so that we can promote through best standard preservation practices, the long-term health and well-being of these buildings. It's not an aesthetic, overlording. It's not a oversight. It's just simply that we have these guidelines in place, codified in order to best preserve our downtown within that planning overlay, that local historic district. So again, I wanted to bring those particular concerns. I'm sorry, Victoria, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
Hold on just a second. We have a phone
Well,
going on.
What I was going to say is my motion is still on the table and I'm voting
Correct.
no,
It
to
is very
deny.
much,
Yes,
And then a meeting.
We would need a second on that.
yes, we need a second.
I got distracted from the phone. What did you say? We
The motion on the table at this moment is the denial of COA application 03-2025, applied for retroactively with the town of Brookville.
And it's denial and the
In
same
full,
with it, in
yes,
full.
in full. We have a motion from Victoria. We need a second, if anyone does wish to second.
I don't think
Go
if
ahead.
we do what our jobs are on this commission, I'm really surprised that the hesitancy to move forward with this, and let's see what we can resurrect from it. But for now, my feelings are it has to be no. If we're going to stand by the policies and guidelines and everything that I'm sorry, is it Mitchell?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, that he has read and reiterated several times in August meeting and again today. So whatever
So-
the rest of the group decides, I have to go with it, but I just want it on record that I'm not for approving it.
We appreciate that honesty.
And Victoria, to be very clear, there is nothing stating that you have to go with the majority vote on this. The nay is still a very active vote in all this if it goes counter.
Okay,
Yeah, you have that right.
So
okay,
let me
I do now.
Let me express my view on it. I agree, Victoria, I'm not saying yes, but I agree with your interpretation that we don't want to set a precedent. My only concern and why I would not say no at this moment is because I would also like to add guidelines. So I'm not someone that likes to just say no. I like to say, this is no, this is why. Here's what I would suggest instead. Does that make sense? So kind of that
Mhm.
middle ground and stating like, I don't agree with this. However, I think if you were going to remedy it, which would be my first preference, this is what I would suggest that you would do to remedy it. So,
I think that's,
and
I
obviously,
think I have agreed with that. I said for today, right now, I still feel we should say no, but that's not saying we can't work with these people to find a solution for them if they're not willing to just take the siding down and do what they should have done in the first place. So I'm not
Yes.
adverse to, I'm not trying to be mean to anybody. I'm just trying to do the job that I signed on to do.
I don't view you being mean, Victoria. I agree with you. I just think that if I say no, I want to say like, I would replace the door and put a historically appropriate door as recommended by the guidelines. And this is what specifically those guidelines state. That's
Yeah.
my preference, but
Yeah.
It is possible, and I probably wouldn't be the final say in this at the town's level. It might be something we want to talk with Gina or possibly even with the attorney regarding is you could vote to deny with an addendum to that to say, hey, here's a letter from the commission. I would ask, the commissioners to get these points together and provide an addendum to the applicant and say, look, we reviewed this and, we're not just saying no to be mean. We're not just saying no to say no, right? We have these requirements that apply. We have these outcomes that would be beneficial to see or proper to see. And you can supply it, and that may provide them with the fuel to go in the right direction. Hopefully it does, and we may see another COA to say, okay, we're going to reverse this. But either way, I think to Victoria's point, you've done your job with that and kind of gone above and beyond the call as well.
I just think of in the past, we've had windows come or signed and we've said, this doesn't fit the guidelines. This is what we would suggest doing instead. And I feel like that, to me, that's where people are still learning what the guidelines are and what that means and how to find the information. And so that gives a little bit of guidance to understanding like what it is that they need to do moving forward, just in my opinion.
So you're suggesting that you would say, no, we don't approve of this, but you might consider this,
I mean,
which is basically the same thing.
it's basically what Victoria's saying.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
just
it just
saying
worded
that
a
these
little
are
bit
what we would
differently.
suggest you doing instead. So having an addendum, that's what I feel. Because I don't want to set a precedent. I love
I
our
don't
town.
either.
I'm very passionate about historic preservation.
Me
I've been that
too.
way since I was a little kid. And my personal views, however, don't always go with the guidelines, right? So, and I think that, I just think I don't know, I don't know the owner personally, but I know of other buildings that they've done in town, and they were very mindful of the historic components of those buildings when they did them. Because I went on the historic home tour, and some of those buildings were owned by this particular individual, and so whether or not we can't look into people's motivations and why things happened the way they did, and why they didn't make sure that the contractor had the appropriate things in place. But what we can do is looking at it moving forward, how can we ensure that, number one, this doesn't happen again? Number two, that we're still following the guidelines the way that they're implemented. And to me, that would be saying, like, we deny the approval that you made. However, these are, to remedy this, we would appreciate that these actions occur.
And basically, they're what Metro Red is basically just to paint the building, correct? Because they don't
That's up to
really
you.
want you
I
to
mean,
put something
that's
over
fine.
top of it because it might harm the brick. right?
It really could, yeah, I mean, to be honest, painting it would be the best way to go. And any siding, like I said, does risk entrapment of that moisture behind, just as any vapor barrier would. You know, the idea of perhaps, you know, we'd like to add a decorative element, or we want to do a different palette or a different color or something along those lines. I mean, nothing out of the way there. But it would require going back to those guidelines, reviewing what they allow for, and coming back with a proposal that fits more in it. What you've lost in integrity with this structure is sort of tripartite. You've got lots of structure. If you'll go to that next picture there, you've got the windows, which are a very cheap looking kind of vinyl composite, possibly something that my guess would be, just looking at it, is not conducive to meeting the guidelines. You've got obviously the vertical ribbed metal, which is very anachronistic to the building itself. And the key thing there is too, you've lost that, very large, very prominent front door as well, which sort of belies what the building's use was historically. So in terms of loss of integrity, that's your three main points there. And really, once you've gone and lost that much significantly on a building like this, there's not a lot to identify it as what it was, or to really, keep it providing historical input to the downtown. So I would say that anything that would, reverse those three really would be the key,
Do we better consider how much damage it's gonna do to the building to remove this?
It's a great point. I mean, really, in fact, hopefully no more than it did putting it on, right?
Well, it could be anchored, I mean,
Yeah.
You don't know about
you,
this guy.
you
That's a
don't,
great
yeah, you
point.
don't know how it was put on, so you might be destroying the building by taking it off.
I would put that fear second. To me, my bigger concern is that, I mean, candidly, they're gonna look at the denial with or without an addendum, and largely probably knowing that outlet, go to BZA and say, we just want to get this approved as it is. I mean, you talk about past experiences, that's been mine, is that as soon as, once they know of that route, and everybody should, just as they should know about the COA process to begin with, it's the easier way, right? So that's usually the route that's taken.
If it's got that soft brick like my house, the outside spigot went bad on it. So I went to put a frost proof in there to replace it. Boy, you talk about getting into a mess. The farther you got into it, daggone, I had to rebuild the whole place about that big to put that faucet back in there. So you start working on it and you got brick falling out. It's a mess.
I feel like the windows are an easy swap, right? I'm not easy, I shouldn't say easy, but like, windows are taken out and put in all the time,
Now
right?
you're
So,
talking about putting the windows back like it was?
or like windows that, I'm just.
Or-
thinking
They are different. I thought they were.
They're
Yeah,
different.
no,
So,
that's,
we like-
the other ones are like casement windows, I think.
No, we've approved windows before that were like with the panes. I know we've approved those before.
Oh, I'm sure they make
Yeah,
like
like,
a vinyl type window that
looks similar.
looks like a casement window.
Yeah,
No, they don't.
we had one in the valley that she replaced all hers with. Remember Carol, I think it was? And she had windows that looked like this. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I mean,
Debbie,
that's something that could be.
Debbie, could we kind of,
Okay.
I think we've had,
Hold on a second. Sorry. Victoria, what were you saying?
I said, I think there has been 45 minutes of discussion, and we have a motion on the table. I know, and the verbiage that you and Mitch suggested, saying we're saying no at this time, but then there are other, we're not saying no for forever. So we can move on this, let them know what this decision is, and move on to other things. We're kind of
We don't have
beating
a
a dead
vote.
horse.
We do not have a second on
We do
that.
not have a second, so the motion,
Don't die is not having a second.
If without a second, it does die, the motion does die.
yeah.
Now
So we
what
either need a
happens?
different motion, sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I said, so again, if there's not a second to the motion, what's next?
Really, our only outlet is either to table it once again for further discussion in the future meeting, or
Oh my gosh.
to consider another motion this evening, and, if
Yeah.
somebody else has something to bring to the floor.
It sounds like what is being proposed is what everybody there is saying that they want, not to just say no, and it's history. We're not, that's a pun there. We're not looking at this ever again. We are just saying, no, the guidelines weren't followed. We cannot approve this as it is, but let's see what we can do moving, what suggestions can you come to us with that we can work this out? And you can put addendums like that in the documentation to them, correct? You can.
Yes, absolutely. Victoria, if you want to make specifically a second motion, a fresh motion to deny with addendum, then we could do that as well.
Yes, I would be agreeable with that.
And we're taking that as an addendum drafted by the commission, correct?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
I'll second that one. All in favor?
Aye.
We
Any
have all,
opposed?
no, there were no opposals. That was passed, Victoria, so now we just have to figure out what the addendum looks like.
Right.
Do you have specific?
I don't, that's gonna be kind of a case by case, unfortunately, with as specific as this gets into. What I can possibly provide is, again, the same sort of guidelines that were referenced in Stevie's report in August, that you guys could premise some options and outlooks
Yeah.
too. So, I don't believe there's any harm done with drafting that via, an email. I don't,
We can't
I would say through email
we can't make
communication.
decisions through email.
So,
That's like a big no.
yeah, well, no, not decision, just meaning the draft of the addendum. The vote is to deny. So I don't know. That may be something you'd have to ask Gina or the town. to
Can't we
see.
just say what the specific areas are that they need to look at when they bring it back, or
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that
could
would
we
be,
make that decision today and say, okay, windows, I'm hearing window, siding, door, right? Those are the three areas.
They got rid of the door there. Maybe
Yeah,
we'll
the
not
door.
bring that back in,
Put a set of doors back in there.
something,
I'm sure they could put some, whether it's operable or not,
Yeah,
it still looks like.
to make it look like the building is, supposed to look.
Mhm.
so could we just provide the guidelines as they're written and say, these are the three concerns that we have?
We could, and if we don't want an official, well, the vote is for an addendum. I was gonna say, normally I can put that in an email just to say, hey, this has been denied and here's areas to consider.
Well, I think you could
But-
still, I feel like you could still do, like, we're just, like, if we said, yes, we want page 74,
Okay,
page 75.
Yep. That's fine. And then I can just mention that in my email to them with the denial.
Are you
That's
guys good with
acceptable
that,
to
or
the commission.
I am.
do we have to
Okay.
vote on that?
I'm fine with that.
With the motion on the floor being denial with addendum, I would say that's covered.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Victoria, you good with that? If he
Yes,
just
I
puts
am.
the guidelines,
Most
okay,
certainly.
and the specific three areas that we're concerned about are the structure on the outside of the building, so the siding, the windows, and that big door that was taken away. Is that correct? Is that yours as well?
Oh, I just lost my train of thought there. If that will bring it up to the historic standards that it should be, yes.
And,
those three
there
things.
is like something decorative on the top too.
Yeah, we can flip to that.
Oh, yeah, they cover
As well,
That
so
should be
one
kept
for-
up there too,
What-
whatever that
What's that called,
decorative.
Rick? Do you
I
know?
don't know what that is, but it is decorative.
It's not tile.
Oh, up on the very top?
Yeah.
Is it metal?
No, that's like a ceramic tile.
Yeah,
That's
that
what
needs
that
to
is.
be
Your,
kept
your
too.
cornice cap there, and all these are things.
So maybe just denial, these are the guidelines.
And these are the reasons why,
Yeah.
essentially. Yeah.
And then they can come back with some.
And then again, something it framed in an email from me, I'm assuming it's, has it gone up from the chair previously or from the staff?
From me.
From staff, you got it, that's, I said, it's
And
usually
then
how
you
it's
should
in the.
copy all of us so we can see it.
That'll work perfect, that way you guys are in tune, you'll see, and if something is greatly, unmet or not addressed, then we can.
Like, talk about these COAs, they have to be talked about in a meeting, like in a public forum, so.
Absolutely, no, I was not calling for any sort of a vote or anything on that,
That's
yeah,
important.
it is, yeah.
Okay, all right, moving on to, thank you for your patience. We are moving on to 330 Main Street, COO 2025-01, version 2, October 2025. This particular building was rated contributing circa 1840. It's in good condition, slightly altered integrity, 2/3 I house. No outbuildings are mentioned in shard. It was not deemed historically significant. Previously proposed work, which we approved, if memory recalls,
Correct.
was adding walls, concrete floor, and electric to existing carport and rear of property, constructing second carport attached. I think that's a mistake. Constructing second carport attached to the second and rear of property, and constructing a lean-to against existing carport. So those were previously approved, which are now rescinded because the determination has been that there may be a different need. So currently proposed work. Constructing a new pole barn, 18 by 20 on site of existing carport and rear of property. Constructing a lean-to 6 by 40 against rear of new building. A new pole barn garage will feature a porch 6 by 20. New pole barn garage will be finished out with electrical and plumbing systems. And a new pole barn garage will be sided with metal with a taupe tan finish.
Did I go over that okay?
You did just fine. So this is, I'm borrowing some this evening as well from review that Stevie had done on 01-2025 a little earlier in the year. And so I'll mention the guidelines that she discussed at that time as they're still pertinent. And since the scope has changed significantly and let's say intensified from sort of a semi-permanent structure to a permanent structure, I'm going to add some of my own input here this evening as well. So for either, the guidelines do direct us to new construction on residential standards at page 3 to 44. The general approach is that, quote, a new residential building should be compatible with its context and reflect the design features found in traditional district residential buildings, including building setbacks, scale and overall height, the number of stories, massing, foundation height, roof form, window and door sizes and placement and porches. This applies to both new construction on residential structures and then additions as well. So additions shall be attached to secondary or tertiary elevations and should be set back from the front facade so as not to damage or obscure character defining features. It was found earlier this year that the carport, the dual carports there on the back side of that property, the rear of that property, would meet that requirement. For parking lots and parking decks not applying here. Page 112. Parking either in a residential setting or commercial use is a necessary part of modern life. We'll agree with that. The challenges come with incorporating that modern use in a way that balances the historic look and feeling of the building and site with the design for the parking area. Best practices include minimizing the visibility of those parking areas, creating them in rear yards. Again, it was determined that that dual carport and even this design here meets that. And installing landscaping to shield the area. I'll make a brief note here that I don't know if it was discussed earlier this year, but landscaping has not been brought into the fold with this latest revision, this garage proposal. Where possible, we need to factor in on-street parking options to minimize the need for construction of hard surface parking areas on the site. Again, I don't see an annotation there as to whether that was discussed previously this year. And then access through alleys is the preferred path to create an off-street parking area. Again, met with this proposal and with the proposal earlier this year. I do want to bring up a few more concerns as it concerns this more significant building, and that's the garage that's being proposed. And that is found on page 105 regarding sites, garages, landscaping, sidewalks, and paths. Quote, beyond the primary building on site, many properties contain other historic elements such as garages, sheds, landscaping, and sidewalks that work together to give the site its look and feel. Although not every of these structures is considered important, many are, so consideration of their place in the history of the site should be undertaken when planning a project. When working on a historic ancillary building, they want us to refer to the appropriate sections on walls, roofs, and masonry for best practices when working on that part of those parts of the building. Now that of course concerns repair work. As we're dealing with garages, garages are secondary structures and should not compete in height or size with the primary structure. That is met in this case. It is a lower structure, not as tall as the structure prominent on Main. Historic garages often have vehicle doors that are too small for modern cars, and rather than demolishing the entire garage, they should consider widening the doors to allow for the larger car. Pertinent to the garage section, not particularly to this concern as it is a modern structure. If the vehicle doors face the alley and pose a problem for entering and exiting, then we need to consider moving the doors to a sidewall and covering over the original opening as shown below. Again, that's considering rework on an older garage, but it also applies to new buildings as well. Basically, if they don't have the turning radius you need out on the alley, we need to make sure that the building is turned in order to accommodate. As well as sheds and other small structures, they are functional and increase enjoyment of the property, but can also affect the historic setting, as we mentioned. Now, the small structures mentioned here are generally less than 100 feet, I believe, 100 square feet, I'm sorry. The building proposed here, as I recall, is 270 all told. We've got a bit of an outlay there regarding how the general setting as given to us in our plot plan would set on the site. The structures would all be inset 5 feet from the edges of the property there. And then you have the existing garage, which is shown in the middle, and the house there on the setback line for the property. Locating structures, small structures in rear yards to minimize visibility from the main street, screening if necessary. Again, landscaping screening not mentioned here, but this is set in the rear, so it does meet that requirement. If visible, structures should have walls and roof of materials similar to the main building. And then pre-manufactured sheds that are visible from the street, especially those with metal or vinyl siding, are discouraged. So those are the two key things. Sorry to go into kind of an ad nausea there. But those are the two key things that this boils down to, is that if visible, structure should have walls and roof of materials similar to the main building. That applies for any ancillary structure that is trying to blend within the district. We're not trying to replicate history, but we're trying to make something that looks like it fits in. And then that second one goes in tandem. Pre-manufactured sheds that are visible from the street, especially those with metal or vinyl siding, are discouraged. I would go so far as to say that with the guidelines, that would be discouraged, as we've seen tonight on other instances, with any structure in the area, meaning a metal or vinyl siding. Thus, with this having a sort of taupe tan metal siding, put forth, my recommendation would be for conditional approval of the COA. The additions or modifications are to non-historic structures in the rear of the property, not interfering with historic home street-facing visual character. That was Stevie's report to you guys a few months back, and that is still largely the case here. But the final materials of the new construction, I would argue, should be weighed heavily by the commissioners in careful consideration. Again, given that metal siding as opposed to wood siding is proposed, something that's not going to fit as well with the district. Again, if you guys, if you want to give an okay on that, I would say that, you're either dealing with a variance for this specific reason, or you would need to see a modification to the material outlay.
Could I ask the homeowner, go back to that picture of the house?
Okay, right here,
What?
this one.
Yeah, where would the barn, this pole barn be? Like, you would see it from Main Street, correct?
You probably will not see it. You see the
I
pole
see
barn.
It'll be back, see where this is?
the carport,
That carport, it'll be back there.
Behind the carport.
That carport's gonna be removed.
but
We're
we
gonna move their carport, build the building up here, and then put that carport behind that building.
We have access to protect our cars at the alley with an opening.
And the reasons why they picked vinyl siding and the color, the addition on the house is the same color and is vinyl siding.
Okay.
So that way,
beige on the back.
that beige piece on the back, and that way it would aesthetically look good. The roof, though, on the buildings is gonna be metal.
No,
And
Is that slate on your house?
No.
No,
Shingles.
no,
It's just shingles?
shingles.
Getting a new roof too this week also. A whole new house.
No.
No, not a whole house. Just gonna be a lot of new stuff.
And it should be mentioned as well that the specific material outlay schedule for this has not yet been supplied. We do not have samples, we do not have depictions.
If we
We-
do,
No, you haven't turned them in. You, samples of your siding?
Mhm.
You have not brought samples of your siding.
Nothing was provided.
No.
I received something in the mail today with the
Did
draft.
you bring anything here?
No,
Okay, that's what he said. Nothing has been received here as samples, so they can look at the samples and say, that's okay or that's not okay. So when you, whatever you have, you need to bring, provide to the commission to look at it.
we have the draft.
No, your material types.
I don't have anything.
We'll get something.
Yeah, they're coming.
Okay.
Menards is delivering. It's already ordered.
The conditional approval thereby could be premised on supply of those and approval. Again, not by an electronic vote. I never mean to suggest that, but at perhaps November's meeting.
What?
No,
He's talking to them.
So the town tabled until we vote, correct? So the town is waiting on issuing the permits until we
yeah,
vote on
it
this.
depends on whether we approve it, whether we approve the permit, whether we approve it here tonight. It's
So
all
we could
contingent
say,
on that, yeah.
as you recommended, it could be an approval with conditions, right? So we could state that needs to be this type of siding.
Correct.
Now, when you said you got material coming, have you got material coming for the whole thing?
Yeah,
Do you know that
No.
it's been ordered?
for sure.
Now, Mitchell's saying we should have a sample, correct?
Mhm. Yes, yeah, material schedule should always be provided before anything.
Before you,
purchased, so that the materials
exactly,
themselves
that's
can be,
what I was.
because again, that is exterior conspicuous change that is applicable to the guidelines, just like on a home or any other structure. We would need to see that material schedule,
And
samples
approve
of those materials
that
and
material,
approve that
correct.
prior to, ideally prior to purchase. I mean, it's a gamble to purchase without submitting and having that approved.
Right.
Yeah, that's.
It's coming from Menards.
Okay.
Do you know what it, I
That's a
mean,
good
do,
question, right?
Picked it out, we looked on the.
don't know.
Is it online? Did you order it online?
We don't,
So
the contractor did, but he went to Menards, yeah, he ordered it through Menards,
And I feel like we need that.
so I don't know
yeah,
when it's coming, it's,
because if they've already purchased the material,
just, I got this is the county or I got my other permit, my first permit. Went ahead and ordered. I didn't know even how to go through. this
Yeah,
county.
I don't know who that would have been. Would that be a county?
it'd be a county.
This is the town,
If I can interject, Sally, the permits you received, the permissions or the approvals you received, was that for the carport or for this garage? Because it sounds like the town is.
We approved the carport before.
But you have not, the city. the town
Not
has
this
not
one,
approved
this one right here,
Okay,
it's on contingent whether it's passed here tonight.
okay. I just want to make sure that's clear for
Yeah.
everybody. The
Yeah.
garage as proposed here has not been tabled by the town.
Not by the town.
Not a.
Now, the county may have given them a permit to do it,
Yeah,
but we do the setbacks and stuff like that.
sure,
We
sure,
have
sure.
to have town, county, and.
Exactly,
And the town has deferred to HPC.
exactly. And the town did, Tim didn't have a problem with the setbacks and stuff. It was just,
That it needed to come before us before.
exactly, it needed to come here before.
well, I thought the problem was the measurements is what the other place, county told me. I had the wrong measurements. I went through 3 different contractors and made a mistake in the door measurement.
Oh.
Check the changes of how the door was gonna be. I didn't have any idea. I had to go through all this. Nobody told me.
Yeah, we don't. we'll let-
Well, you're learning now.
I mean,
You're
no.
learning now.
Getting crash course in it right now.
101.
I did not know that.
Yeah, and again, I think we mentioned in our last meeting, it would always go local, city, town.
Yeah,
County. So really what could be done here is again, an outright denial. say we don't have enough to approve this, we need, or a conditional approval to say, if, we think this is going in the right direction, we think generally the idea of the building being here is essentially acceptable. But we would need to know more. We would need those samples, those materials, a schedule of, I think as you mentioned, is this going to have windows? Is it going to have doors? What would those materials?
Are you having electric and plumbing put in there too?
A sink so we can wash our hands.
Yeah, I didn't see that in ours, but
And-
I'm not saying it's not, but I didn't.
To be clear, Richard, the only thing, and I want to clarify this for you all as well, the only thing that the plumbing and electrical would concern is anything exterior to the building. We have no control over whether you plumb a sink or toilet or lights or whatever. The county, the city, they may have their own requirements when it comes to those internal concerns and code. Ours is purely an aesthetic,
Right,
exterior aesthetic.
Right, no, I'm just asking because I didn't see it.
I
last
wasn't
night.
clarifying for you, just.
I didn't see it last
That's
night,
pretty
that
large.
it wanted that in there, that's why I asked.
Yeah. And so, yeah, so
Well,
if
I
there is
seen,
any-
I seen in here where you had talked about the plumbing, electric and stuff now.
Yeah, and if there's, if there's a, I mean, not that you may have it, but like a beach shower, or there's, lighting on each side of the garage door, or something like that, we would want to know, because again, that goes into the
Something
overall
to the
aesthetic
exterior.
function of the exterior. If they're plumbing in a small bath on the inside, that has nothing to do with us, obviously, and again, just to clarify for your concerns, so.
So
How do we get that information to you? If you're gonna meet once a month,
It would be supplied through the clerk's office and would be something put before us for the November meeting, November, I think here.
I don't know.
so I'm having concrete laid and I have to wait till November?
Can we have a special meeting?
We can.
I mean,
yeah,
if they get it
call.
to us and we have a special, can we do
We
that?
Yes.
Yeah.
So they can maybe not slow down
Yeah.
what they're doing?
Hopefully the winter's coming.
Yeah, it is coming. We can.
I hope it ain't a bad
It's gonna
one.
be in the eighties all winter.
Yeah, our next regular is gonna
Maybe
be-
where I'm gonna be anyway.
That's just a while. Our deadline for material submissions by that time would be November.
I can bring it to you tomorrow, just tell me where to come. Or
Well, we would
Tommy,
need windows, doors.
it's all on the draft, I don't bring the window, I can't carry the window to you, I don't think.
But he's got everything, from,
The contract.
showing.
Tommy Gert, Tommy Gert.
Sure. You would have pictures through Menards of the windows and the doors and the material
Yeah.
that they're made out of. Of course, we wouldn't expect you to bring all
Show
that
you on
here.
Tommy's, on the computer, can't we, Teresa, right now?
I don't have it,
You don't have it no more?
no.
Does Tommy, can I call
Yes.
Tommy? And see if Tommy has it on his,
A vinyl siding or metal siding?
Metal siding, as was told, corrugated metal siding, correct? Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, like it,
And that
It's
was
a
one of
pole
the
barn,
building.
considering.
And you
Correct.
can
So,
see-
and
you
the
can
siding
see
is
that
actually
from Main
vinyl.
Street too.
The siding will buy, not metal.
You can't say no to one.
Okay, the metal was
Okay, we're in-
Horizontal or
No,
vertical?
I'm,
sided in metal with a coat can finish as well as relay.
You know what I'm
Is
saying?
that a horizontal siding or
I can't
vertical?
say, I can't say, I don't have a picture. of
Horizontal.
that.
so,
All right.
And Sally, to be clear, I mean, your contractor working with him,
Uh-huh.
it would be something that you could pretty easily put on him to say, look, they're calling for a material schedule. And we need specification sheets for each and every material used on the exterior of the property. Again, the man doors, the overhead door, the siding, the gutters, I mean, anything that concerns the exterior. And if it's a prepackaged kit from Menards, there's a pretty good likelihood that there's a zip file somewhere on their website. Maybe a contractor's gotta log in to get it, but they may be able to get that pretty readily. And
that would be-
okay.
And is your siding vertical like this?
I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is.
see the material.
And we would need time to review that and
Yeah.
then call a special session, probably splitting if I had to guess. I mean, by the time it takes them to get that back to you, get it into the clerks, get us back together, probably 2 weeks.
I think the thing is, it's just gonna be through Menards, that it will be a virtual reality thing, either Tommy will come or send you something, or send it through text. He doesn't have a computer, so he's been working with Menards to do the draft.
Well, perhaps Menards could supply him with hard copies of those, like spec sheets and different things that he could, and then all of that would need to be submitted through the clerk's office. You can't come directly to any member
Oh,
or
okay.
myself. That would have to go through the clerk's office and be submitted as an addendum to your application.
The clerk of town or the clerk of county?
The clerk.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, sorry, I should have clarified. I apologize.
That's okay, cause I'm the one that's getting the paper.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, and then they would send it, so
Yeah,
Things laid on my table, but they want sample in pieces or something.
samples ideally, but at least something that's gonna give some indication of material composition. Again, the specification sheets will usually give that, and then, color palette as well.
I don't think it's gonna be vertical, it's gonna be horizontal.
Okay.
That's my understanding. So.
Corrugated, but horizontally said?
mhm.
Okay,
Mhm.
okay.
But again, it's metal, right?
That's as far as it's been told to me. Yeah, colloquially, it's been placed as metal as a pole barn, you know, with a little, you know, it would normally be that corrugated rib we've seen, and vertically or horizontally lined, it could be either, but it's hard to say.
Yeah, we had to go with our measurements of our driveway and stay within our specs and get as much space as we could
Okay,
within the property measurements. And that's what we did. We could have brought a kit in, but I couldn't get anywhere. And I finally found a contractor that I was able to get with. So
Yeah, trying to get something done.
trying to get something done and everybody together is really,
I
Very
went
difficult.
went through 3 or 4 contractors. Can't get anybody to do anything for you, and we found one guy that will do it.
well, we've got 3 or 4 that all know each other and are well known.
Any more questions about it, or any?
Well, my concern is you have to remember it's going to be visible through on Main
Correct.
Street.
Yeah,
So,
is that secondary building, is that vinyl siding on that, or is that wood siding?
that's an addition to
That's
that.
in addition to the house, it is vinyl
It
siding.
is vinyl siding.
which would be presumably grandfathered. It hasn't been built
Yeah,
within the
it's
last.
I would
grandfathered.
then say.
It's been- It's been there long as I've ever owned a house.
I'm sorry,
But
Dustin.
it's okay, they were saying, she said originally, and she said she was mistaken, that she thought that the materials matched, but in effect, they don't match because they're metal versus
Because
vinyl.
of the,
Right.
yeah,
Okay,
well. You do what you can in this world.
I'll remind the commission as well, we do have, if we do foresee a special session coming up to consider this, once those material lists are in and or samples, we could also go to table until such time as well. So my
This is about an
recommendation.
18 by 18 building.
18 by
20.
yeah, it says it right here.
There's 3 major portions. It's the 18 by 20 pole barn, the 6 by 20 lean-to, and the 6 by 40, or I'm sorry, the 6 by 40 lean-to and the 6 by 20 porch that will be
Yeah,
on
I'm
that.
trying to. Look at them.
The porch is on
Okay.
that barn.
Menards on the street down here.
It should be a 6x40 porch.
Going into a lean-to being kind of aligned, or is that, yeah. like
You're right, yeah.
6 by 20 porch, and then alongside of the 6 by 20 lean-to?
No, the front building, so the pole barn,
Sorry,
you have a porch on it.
so here,
No, not on the house, it's gonna be on the first building behind the house.
18 by
Okay.
20.
Yeah, there's
Both of these buildings are 18 by 20. This one and that's 18 by 40. Or 18 times 2 is 30, what is it? 18 by
36.
36.
36 by 40. It's gonna cover my driveway. All concreted to the end. I have another 118 feet for clearance.
If both buildings are no longer than 20 foot long,
Right,
right?
right,
Lean-to or porch, either
Is
one is
the
only
total.
gonna be 20 feet long.
right.
One is gonna have a porch on it, it's gonna be the pole barn will have the porch.
okay,
The carport that they put back up will have the lean-to attached to it.
So it's still gonna have that carport and lean, this is additional
Yeah,
instead
so
of.
it sounds like the building, the big building, or the new building will be on the back of where that vinyl is, right? So that carport's being moved.
that
Is that right?
yes.
So then the next, so they will add the pole barn directly, not to the back attached, but just to the back of it.
Sitting.
And then that
Two inches
carport
apart.
will be behind that.
Yes, Yeah.
So it's
Alley
almost
side.
like you'll,
right?
Alley side,
Okay.
Yes.
opening,
Okay.
So the pole barn won't be used as a garage, it's
No.
just, it's a.
and for the cars.
It's a
cars.
craft building.
The pole barn will be used as a garage. I'm sorry.
oh, I'm gonna
Yeah,
guess,
I
I
said
said,
Crap, crap.
yeah.
If you go back to their block plan, the one with all the, yeah, and
Okay.
you might be able to zoom in for Richard's benefit there and for everybody's benefit on the, on the right side. So you'll see that moving existing carport is going to 5 foot from the property line. Behind that will.
They're
set the
just
new
swapping
barn.
our sort of.
Yeah, correct. And behind that, the existing garage, and then on the side of that will be that lean-to, which itself will come to 5 foot from the, I guess that'd be the northern edge of that parcel.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The lean-to is to the yard side and not the alley side.
Correct.
Okay.
And it's gonna be along both the skinny side of that new pole barn and that.
In between there.
Carport, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's being
See,
relocated.
I was told at one time there was another house. There was another house that stood behind the garage and all that was close to the alley. And they went and tore it down. Long time ago.
Now, how are you gonna park cars in that new pole building?
They're not.
They're not, there's no cars gonna be parked in there.
No.
She said it's for cars.
Yeah.
No,
that's
she said for cars in the carport.
In the carport.
They're gonna have a garage door on the outside of the,
All right.
the pole barn to go from the carport into the pole barn just for access. But they don't plan on parking cars inside the pole barn. They're gonna use it for their craft building.
I'm
They're
wondering,
gonna park their cars under the lean-to
right,
and under the carport.
and you're still gonna enclose that carport,
Yes. Which was what we had previously.
right, that's been approved.
That's.
Yeah. I didn't know if they was swapping out, not doing a carport, and put,
That's being, yes,
What I was
so.
thinking.
Just changed it, reversed it, because the contractor said, why all that metal? Let's just move the carport. I was gonna bring in a second carport and build it. He said, why all that metal? And I said, you tell me. So he told me, and that's what we're doing.
Yeah, that was relayed to me that the initial COA was what was being taken out, and so that was the rescinded note in that
Well, I just
report,
thought we
but.
didn't have a clarity, so really that.
Yeah, I thought you was taking that original one out and putting a new one in, that's,
Basically, we're altering the one that we approved because
We
we're
were.
moving the car.
Or again, this was brought up as being under 01-2025, if we want, when they submit materials, to submit a new COA or require the town to put this under a new COA number, we could say 2025 has been approved. That still stands, and then we come in with, whatever this one would be, 2025, 05. So,
Victoria, are you still on or are you off?
That's the order number. Would that help you?
On.
No, okay, all righty.
She must have hopped off.
Yeah, you get to checking things out down here. There's a lot of history in
Yeah, there
Franklin
sure
County.
is.
There is. I make a motion that we table it until we get all the information, the building insurance, the windows, the doors.
I second that.
Hey, I'm still on the meeting.
Hi, Victoria, thank you.
Sorry, I tried, do you have something to add?
No,
Okay, so, Janet just made a motion that we table it until we get the material list. And
okay.
then, I was the second, sorry, I forgot I was the second, and then everyone else voted in favor. How would you like to vote, Victoria?
Yeah, that's, yes,
You're in favor as well?
in favor, yeah.
Okay, so all in favor,
In favor of
Okay.
tabling it, right?
Tabling to special session or until
until we get the material.
the material, yes.
Okay, so then their next step is they need to get those materials and then send them, give them to the clerk's office, who will then send them to us. And then we will discuss either having it at the next meeting or creating a special meeting.
And and that would be determined based on
When we get that really.
when they're received and review time and everything, so, that would be what's needed next.
Okay, great. Next up, hearing any more, we have hearing of visitors. Did you guys, thank you for coming. We appreciate it. Yeah.
I got another meeting to get.
Oh, he knows
Thank you.
the- and so much, yes, have a great night. Thank you.
Have a good night.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, next up then we have new business and unfortunately. And I don't know, it depends on whose view it is. We have Kathy's letter. That she has put her due effort in as she has to many boards. And after 4 years, she would like to encourage the town board members to support the mission. And I'll just read it, sorry. She said, my term for the Historic Preservation Board ends on December 31st, 2025, and she does not wish to be appointed. And she said, thank you for the opportunity to serve on the Historic Preservation Board for 4 years, and I want to encourage the town board members to support our mission in protecting the historic integrity of our beautiful town. And then she did provide us with one, and then one that I gave Gina already, so that Gina can provide the town board with that. We also have, Janet, you're up at the end of the year as well, correct? And
Yes.
have you decided yet? Are you still pondering? I'm not putting any pressure.
I'm
on you.
still kind of pondering.
Okay.
I'd like to stay on it, but I'm finding myself traveling a lot more,
Okay,
and I don't know if I'm gonna be available, so,
all right. Will you think about it and
okay.
you let us know?
I just put ditto on.
If that's what I'm.
With your initials, just.
You just go right.
You said you were still thinking through it. I'm not very gullible. You were kidding, right? You were, or do you want to just write it on here? I mean, you can. I don't think it has to be a formal letter, does it?
I tried to keep it short and sweet. I wanted to go into a lot more detail, but I kept it short.
Okay.
We thank you for that.
You should go off of it too, because of traveling.
She's never home. Is that, okay, so I'm asking a scaling question, on a scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you in that decision? With the 10 being like, I am done, and 1 being like,
She loves it.
I love being on the board, I
Okay.
really do, I love history, I love trying to support the HPC.
and really, you're just saying, hey, if you want to put me in again, I'm interested. So you're not saying I'm gonna be on it, you're saying, town board, I'm interested in continuing my service to the community and the historic board.
Yeah,
And ultimately, that's their decision.
actually, I'm gonna resign because I travel so much.
All right, that's you, you wanna write it on here?
Yes, I'm sorry, I love being on here, what do I just put ditto?
No, just write it.
Ditto, love Janet.
So then we'll have to communicate to the town board that will have 2 seats available.
Okay.
And then I'll also post it on our Facebook.
Mm.
So maybe I'll just do it tomorrow or let Gina.
Yeah.
Post it on Facebook so that people can submit their interest to the town board.
Yeah, and I love being on the board, and I am, there are so many dedicated board members on this board. There are so many people that are so for historic preservation. So I think it'll stay, and Deborah needs to stay on for eternity, and Rachel's very much
Sounds bad.
historic preservation.
Okay, tell Tommy, my contractor, what we need, so he knows.
Hey, Tommy, good evening. This is Mitchell Kenning. I'm staff with the Brookville HPC. We'll need your kind of, traditional material schedule for that build. Anything that concerns the exterior of the structure. So man door, overhead door, siding, gutters, any lighting or plumbing appurtenances, et cetera, moving forward on that. It might be something that if this is a prepackaged deal from Menards, they can supply you in hard copy, and then that would just need to be submitted to the town clerk for review by our board here.
Yeah, she just got that in the mail today, so she's got it all at her house.
Okay, so it sounds like we just need to get that over to the clerk, maybe as soon as tomorrow even perhaps.
Samples though, what do you mean?
Samples would be great as well. Do you know, do they have a sample pack that can be supplied with that build out? Okay. Okay, is there a way, maybe some photographs or something could be collected of it, or is that something they can supply to you?
Shows me, like, what all are you needing?
Uh,
Samples.
Color palette samples of what it would look like. If you have physical sample, that's the best way to do it. If not, pictorial substitutes could be made too. So if you want to send something in, you know,
Again, on Menards, I have a 3D image of it. I can take pictures of that if that's what you want to see.
I think that would be a start. Yeah.
Kind of look and everything.
Okay. Yeah, that would be great. And again, if they have a sheet or something that would give the paint palettes, something with a finish color on it that we can see, something printed off, that would be even better. You'll have to submit that to the town clerk. Okay?
Do you know how to submit that to the town clerk, or is that gonna be through me?
Well, you just have to take that paperwork.
I thought that was Letterman, or Nick Letterman, said who's the lady that was here? She said she would bring it down for you. I thought if you could.
He gets it from him.
Oh,
Same thing.
okay,
She's my sister.
okay.
Since I make mistakes, you see I do.
Good to have sisters.
And then,
back.
and then if there's something beyond that that's needed, that's not included in that packet or those, say that color sheet or whatever you may have, we'll let you know, but, that would be a great start.
Okay, so are you texting it to me?
I'll send you the 3D pictures and then.
We'll take
see if
it from
I can
them,
get
too.
them that-
Roy House is through then too.
that has reliability specs,
Oh,
everything.
I didn't know that.
Got it today, open it. Oh, wow, so that's too big. They don't want that in the table. I should have brought it. They wanted it. Damn.
Turn that or a copy of it into the town clerk, they'll scan it in and get it over to those concerned.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you, yes, thank you.
All right, so go back. No, you're good. Okay, so then we have two commission open seats. I already sent this to Gina, so she can notify the town board. I'll post on Facebook probably tomorrow.
It's gonna start working tomorrow. Tear it down.
Yeah.
Anything
Report and
Aaron down, oh,
Disassembling the carport.
disassembling.
Not moving.
Well,
Yeah, we don't have anything.
that's a chance you're gonna take, yeah.
yeah, that would be fine. I wouldn't start any, concrete or new construction until you got, and that applies not only to us, but to the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have your permits from the town.
Yeah.
How do I do? I got my permit.
It's
Not from the town.
not from the town.
Oh, this is the town.
Yeah, so you don't wanna start.
You got the town board, this is historic preservation.
Yeah, so you have to have ours plus the town, so you don't want to.
That this year.
You did it on the carport, but not on the new building. in
Yeah,
Champaign.
you got a permit on the carport, but not this other
Yeah,
addition that you're.
it's different.
I've been to Gina 3 times.
Yeah, I don't know.
We voted last night to hold it up until that the COA here is approved.
And that may be, you may be thinking of the original one for the carport, and then you brought more for the town board, and then more for us, so that's probably.
We approved it last night, but it's on contingent of what happens here, whether we approve it.
Okay. So just get him to get that.
That
over
makes
to
sense
clerk,
to you.
And then
Thank you.
we'll. Thank you.
It's, exactly, exactly.
Okay, so I'll post that. Number 5B, we have HPC relationships, local legal APC.
Yeah, regarding, again, we talked briefly about exploring, what our relationships with the local attorney look like and with the area plan commission, how we improve those, how we improve communication, et cetera. I just wanted to bring that back into the fold tonight, kind of open forum to see if there were any other ideas or approaches that we wanted to make toward that. Again, I'm new to this, so I'm not gonna say I've got the 8 ball, but
I would say first, it's an affirmative thing that the town board tabled it with us making the decision because they chose not to approve it without it coming to us. So I would be great to say that we're grateful for that and that's what should happen, correct?
as far as I'm aware, yes, it always goes local to regional, so.
And that's what we want to have happen is that if something does come to them before it hits us, they're like, whoa, hold on, we need this.
Mhm.
So that's working, or at this point, it's working.
Okay, and I know we had talked briefly about the idea of having city attorney present at these meetings and the possible cost associated with that. Do we have any other
I don't
Thoughts on
work.
that, I mean,
I mean, I don't
I
want
thought
to
we tabled that, because, we just,
we pay by hour for them.
yeah, we just
I
said
would
no
say
to that, yeah.
A serious meeting before. you-
case by case.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
before you just have them
Yep.
present, I mean, that can get a little expensive.
Going back to the relationships, did we talk to area planning? Did anybody contact them? Because like, again, she didn't even know about this and the
No,
requirements.
we did
and
not.
We gotta get past that, you know what I'm saying, where they know that this comes first and there's requirements in the historic district that have to be met.
Well, that might be where you get them to come to us before they give the permit, or they give the permit, you know, with
Well,
contingents that
no.
get passed here
Who's in that office now?
at the county or here.
Planning.
I'm not sure who all's in it.
Because if I,
I mean, I know probably another couple of people. I don't know the exact person.
yeah, but I mean, like, if I'm correct, it didn't, like, the building inspector, did he? Because we were talking about different buildings and windows and this and that and the other, if you had to have permits. And then shortly after that is when the building inspector passed away. Remember that?
Who,
That Cox.
Mm-hmm,
I forget what his first name
Yeah.
was.
oh,
yeah.
Yeah, so it's like.
I remember you guys talking about
Yeah,
that,
so
so that was
like,
why we
it
said,
is-
but then we determined that they never went to them.
Yeah.
Or so that was.
So now who's in that office?
I don't know who's in that office, but Todd Rabel was on the APC. I know that.
Needs to send them to us first.
And
And I think,
I
the
think-
town board knows that,
Yeah,
but
I think that's why we sort of changed it.
yeah,
The way we're doing it is, you know, only if you guys approve it.
Yeah.
yeah,
Because
and she
And
got-
doesn't
that's if they're
get
holding
that
up,
information either.
But we need to have them do that, is what, if it comes to them, then they should be coming to us.
Yeah, but if it's coming to them, it's not something in the town. So, you know what I'm
Oh,
saying? If
so
it's coming to the
Per
ABC,
se,
it's something in.
could be.
Oh, okay.
Well, it could be because they have to approve the permit. The building permit, they have to approve it. If they're building a house down the street here, they would have to approve it. All we do is the setbacks is all the town does.
So I guess the check and balance there would be if it comes to the city should be asking somewhere on that, what is your approved COA issuance number?
Yeah,
And if,
Basically, our checkpoint is there already.
and I would say it probably doesn't do any harm to have that same checkpoint with APC on some
Exactly.
document of theirs to say, if you're within the local historic district overlay. Again, I don't know what flags that, but you know, what is your COA issuance
Yeah,
number?
I don't think there's any flags
I
right
don't think
now.
there is.
And there
Do
needs
they
to
have a
be.
clerk or someone that?
Well, they just changed, they had a major change in personnel where they had the same people that did it for.
But do they have an
Yeah.
office that people, how do people contact them?
Yeah, like what is their primary point of contact?
There's an office in the
In
government.
Government
Oh,
building.
it's just the government office, so like.
Got a picture.
Oh,
Okay, excuse me, everyone. I'm sorry to interrupt. Hello,
That's. Hi, Victoria.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I'm gonna have to step off.
Yes, yeah, if he's got, yeah, I was say, so something like that would be great to submit, and then if he's got.
Hold on just a second.
Yeah, if he's got the same color selections for everything, that would be good as well. So that would apply to roofing too, we should note. I don't know if the roofing is the same color or not. But... Yeah, okay, I would have him put those in whenever it's submitted to the
Those have to
board.
be sent,
And
yeah.
I would say that's gotta be officially submitted, so.
Thank you. Victoria, what were you saying?
Thank you.
Victoria, what were you saying? Can you hear us?
I don't know if she said she was getting off or not.
She said something. Okay.
We may have lost her.
Yeah. Okay, so APC. So we need to figure out who's the checkpoint at that office.
Yes, yeah, that would be.
Yeah, we have to eliminate this confusion with our.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've been out of it for so long. I have no idea.
I know Todd's on it, but he.
The APC board?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, we
Is it
just have
online?
to, we just have to notify their office, and when people come in, they have to be aware
Yeah,
that if they're in the historic district, they need a COA.
yeah. I mean,
That's the way it should be, I mean. Because if they give a permit and then here, come to find out, we don't approve it, then,
We don't want people ordering stuff and.
yeah. Yeah,
well, and that's
you got
the
a
thing,
garage
with their
coming.
Gina, right?
they don't know they can
That,
use
that
it.
would be the great question. Who's your point person? Who is your filter for that, you know?
Who's the filter?
And is there a way that we make an electronic filter?
Yes,
yeah. I mean, I can call over there. I don't know what day I would be able to do it. I mean, when they're open. Unless someone else wants to do it. Probably next Friday, not this week, following Friday. Unless someone else would like to call. Can do Friday this.
Is there a website? Are they on the county's website? Who's in
Yeah.
charge?
Do you have a,
I'm sorry.
can you look that up on your thing and then maybe on your laptop?
The
Sorry.
county's website, who's in charge of vacancies? Should be.
Yeah. What time does the county office close?
4
4?
o'clock,
It-
except for
I
the
don't know-
treasurer's
I don't
office,
know
I think
if
they
it's
stay open later.
Caitlin is who it may be.
Caitlin,
See,
If I can find her email, I can.
she's in the,
Franklin County Planning, Zoning and Building, I
Yeah.
have listed as Caitlin Sturworth Bank.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
And Keith Shears as the inspector.
If it's email, I can probably do it tomorrow. I'll put it in. Okay,
All right.
I'll email her tomorrow.
I should have known that.
Trying to get this confusion stopped.
Yeah, I'll just email her and I'll copy everyone here, so that way everyone sees it. And then,
And our point person with the town would still be Gina,
Yeah.
correct? I mean, there's just no other, no other way that that's getting routed, so I try to make sure we're not missing any.
The only other person for the town, would be Tim Reberger, I mean, he sort of. He checks all the setbacks and stuff like that.
but it's hitting the stop point there, like I feel like the.
Bottom line is,
The way it should.
bottom line, you,
Connected to Gina.
yeah,
Yeah,
bottom line, you get it to Gina, it's gonna get to where it needs to go.
yeah. Gina can never leave.
Nope, absolutely not.
All right, so any other talking points on HPC relationships, or so action item is I will email Caitlin and I took a picture of her, Thank you, Rick. And copy everyone here, including you.
That'd be great, yeah.
Okay, old business, update historic district signage. I know Victoria has been working on that. She said she had another meeting. Let me see if that's on the text here. I
Didn't mean to put anybody on the spot with that, I just knew it was a recurring concern, so I
You
thought,
were
well.
good.
thanks for discussing.
I don't have it, let me see it here. I don't have it on here, but she said she'll bring it to the next meeting, was what she said, so she's been working on that. Any other announcements? Nope. Nope. Okay. Oh, the historic home tour is coming up. I'm not in it, so don't ask, but. But you should go online and look, because it is coming up in December, so. Everyone loves to the historic. tour in Brookville. The Main Street song, right?
We are, I'm on the, yeah, I'm in charge of that committee and we are struggling with getting another. We need 2 more houses, so
So if you
right now
know,
we just have
I
1.
can't do it.
We don't want to have houses that
Don't
we've
want-
already had on
you're
there.
done.
But we're trying not to.
No, it's not that, it's just I'm having surgery soon and I'm
You don't
not.
have to feel guilty.
You just were on it, you know, okay.
I know, but I would do it again. Oh, I would. I enjoyed it. I really did.
It was
But
fun.
I can't do it this year. There's no way.
So if anyone knows anyone that may be interested, they should reach out to them.
Believe me, I've been trying to help Janet. We've gone over.
It's not gonna 40 doors. Did you know?
All right, do I have a motion? Let's go ahead and get this thing wrapped up. Yeah, I got it. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion.
I second.
All in favor to adjourn?
Aye.
Out.
Up there.
Done. Denise.
So, I told her that I make supper tonight. I have.
Yeah, well,
Very nice.
So give me some.
It's not big or large.
Yeah, I
Then we're gonna need to sign off on it.
I just wanna make sure.
I will spend.
Having my eyesight, I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I said, you'll be standing at 6 o'clock. The big eyes.
Yeah, that's-